Today, we're going to talk some grim Houston history. We're going to talk about the Texas killing fields. Now, there's been a lot of documentaries, Netflix and History Channel. They all have little docu series and stuff. There's a plethora of YouTube videos and channels that talk about the killing fields, and most of those focus on Calder Road. Calder Road is an area or road um, near League City. If you're heading towards Galveston from Houston, going on 45, that's when you go into League City. Calder Road back in those days was an oil field. It's an oil field road. Just a dirt road, and that's where more of the, I guess you want to say, famous occurrences took place with the murders in the killing fields. Now, there's one place that a lot of these documentaries don't talk about, and two people they often don't really mention, and that would be Colette Wilson and Gloria Gonzalez. Now, before we jump into Colette Wilson and Gloria Gonzalez, I have to get you to put you in the mindset of 1970s Houston, in this location where their bodies were found. This abandoned stretch of road here. In fact, off in the distance, you see what is now Eldridge Parkway. Before it was called Eldridge Parkway and straightened out, this was the original road alignment, and it was called Attucks Fairbanks. As you see, it heads from that direction, makes a quick 90-degree turn that direction. Then just before it gets to Eldridge, it makes another 90 degrees. And during the early 80s, this road was straightened out. And this portion here became abandoned, as you can see now. Now, this road behind me, in many maps, is simply referred to as Boy Scout Road. And it plays a part in this the story of Colette and Gloria. Now, back in the 70s, this Boy Scout road here was accessible from Attucks Fairbank, or you want to call it Eldridge, we call it Eldridge. But this road was accessible, and it actually dead ended right up here around this corner. And different Boy Scout troops here in the Houston area would often use this for camping and other Boy Scout activities. We got to remember, in 1970s, this was well outside of Houston. The Beltway 8 was not built. Highway 6 was simply a farm and market type of two-lane road. And this whole area here was very isolated. And again, it wasn't really a part of Houston. This was 15 miles outside of Houston city limits. Unlike nowadays, it's pretty much in the middle of Houston. Now, the first girl to go missing was Colette Wilson. Um, she was last seen at a bus stop in Alvin, Texas, on County Road 99 and Highway 6 in June 17th, 1971. Her band teacher had dropped her off, and her mother was going to pick her up. Once her mother arrived at the location, she was no longer there. And she was the first girl, 13 years old, to actually go missing that was related to the Texas killing fields. Now, Gloria Gonzalez, she was a 19-year-old young woman, and she was last seen at her apartment complex on Jacklin Road. And ironically, Jacklin Road is a road that runs through Spring Branch. Um, there's a lot of apartment complexes along that road. And I used to live a few blocks from Jacklin Road on a street called Early Street. But Gloria Gonzalez, she was last seen at the apartment complex, and that was on October 28th, 1971. Now, up to this point, the disappearance of Colette Wilson and Gloria Gonzalez would seem to be isolated, non-related at all. Back in those days, 1970s, the problem we had in a lot of large cities is when a teen would go missing. Often the police department would call that a simple runaway. It didn't matter if it was male or female. If your son or daughter at 16, 17 years old just didn't come home one day, a lot of police departments, partly because of we don't live in the age we have now. Now we have Amber Alerts and we have Silver Alerts. We have a digital age where we can broadcast to a mass of people about a missing person. Back in those days, they would simply jot down the note. These police departments were just simple analog. Everything was handwritten, and maybe a notification was sent out to the police. Look up, be on the lookout for so and so female or so and so young man, what color hair, what color eyes, wearing whatever they're wearing. And it was all just verbal, handwritten notes. And a lot of these cases simply got unsolved and went unsolved to this very day. So as it went with Colette Wilson and Gloria Gonzalez, these cases simply went unanswered. Police didn't really look for them. So that leads us to this Boy Scout field. And the events that actually transpired to find these two young women. Now, November 23rd of the same year, 1971, there was a gentleman out here. Um, some accounts say he was treasure hunting, but in actuality, he was out here metal detecting. Again, this being an old Boy Scout camp, he was simply out here looking for trinkets and other little knickknacks. Also, the Addicks Reservoir area has a once had a large German um, uh, population that lived out here um, from the 1870s on back. So he was simply out here metal detecting. And as he was metal detecting, he ran across a foul smell. So tracking that smell down, he actually ran across a body, a decomposing body. Now he contacted the authorities. Authorities came out and started an investigation and gathered all the remains up and sent them downtown to the coroner to be reassembled and to find out the identity of the remains. The remains turned out to be the remains of Gloria Gonzalez. But in a strange twist, as they were identifying the remains, they found an extra tooth. I believe it was a molar, but they found an extra tooth that didn't belong to Gloria, and that led the investigators to come back out here because if there's an extra tooth within the remains, that means there may be another body out here. So the coroners came back out to the uh, this location to search for a possible second body. Now, on November 26th, 3 days after they found Gloria, they actually did find Colette Wilson's body out here. She was positively identified by her father. In fact, she was wearing a one of those peace sign rings on her finger, and her body was identified through that because of that ring by her father. But that is the story. Well, that part of the story of the Texas killing fields, the part that is not told too often. Um, you go to Kohler Road, and they have actual memorials and plaques set out where the bodies were actually found, and people go there and visit quite often. You come out here, and well, there's nothing. Um, it's kind of a hard place to get to. You have to actually hike out here, especially for the fact that the road is no longer accessible. The old Eldridge Road or Addicks Fairbanks Road. So there's no plaque, no memorial out here for Gloria or Colette, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, this is what it is. But that is the story of Texas killing fields. Um, there was quite a few murders from 1971 all the way up to the 1990s. Now, ironically, these two murders here, the no one ever found out who did it. To this day, they are unsolved murders. Now, there was a gentleman uh, who, in prison, confessed to these murders along with 11 others, um, but there was never any proof, never any evidence, and I believe he died in prison 2019, I believe it was. He died. So, as officially as we stand today, 2024, these murders still remain unsolved, and more likely, as the time goes on, whoever did it um, being being over 50 years ago. Whoever did it more likely is no longer around. And if he is around still, he's well into his 80s, 90s, maybe even older. So, but yeah, that is Texas Killing Fields. The story that you just don't hear.